Hi, and welcome to What's the Buzz, the only show of its kind that spotlights the entertainment scene in Southern Maryland. I'm your host, James Lepore, and this is episode number 246. And I would love it if you would please like and subscribe both to the Facebook page as well as the YouTube page. Now, today, as you can see behind me, I am at beautiful, historic St. Mary's City here in Southern Maryland, and I have got four of the actors who are in Hamlet, of course, one of Shakespeare's most popular, well-known plays. So let me just go around and we'll find out who the people are and what they play. So we'll start with you.
I am Colin Mahr, and I play Hamlet.
I'm Jonathan Berry. I play Claudius.
I'm Daelyn Funk. I play Ophelia.
I'm Emily Funderburk, and I play Gertrude.
Well, that's the show. Thanks for tuning in. No. The 2021 Shakespeare in the City production of Hamlet is a collaboration between historic St. Mary's City and the Newtown Players. Now, it does not take place at the Three Notch Theater like other Newtown shows, but it's on the State House lawn here in St. Mary's City. Fun fact, St. Mary's City was the original capital of Maryland. I didn't know that until today. I did have one quote that I read today in all my research. It says, Hamlet is considered one of the most powerful and influential works of world literature. It's one of Shakespeare's most popular works during his lifetime and still ranks among his most performed plays. I do want to mention, before we forget, that this is directed by Randy Tusing, is assistant directed by Monica Miner, and the producers are Aaron and Jenny Meisinger and Beth Sanford. Oh, and by the way, if you, the producers could not be here for this interview, but if you'd like to hear their thoughts and comments about the show, there is NTP's Green Room podcast, where you can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts. Okay, now, everybody, what do you say to people who say, I don't understand Shakespeare?
So that's part of our job as actors on stage when we perform Shakespeare. Our actions, how we communicate, the way we phrase it, it's to make it so that you understand it. We'll also say it is still English, even though it's maybe an archaic form of it, but our job as actors is to portray on the stage what we are actually saying.
Does that mean the older you are, the more likely you're going to understand the language?
Not necessarily.
Okay, I felt a Heather joke coming on there. Daelyn, Emily, how hard is it to memorize lines that aren't in, regular conversational English? And I'm going to ask if you have any tricks to remembering for all the budding actors out there.
Well, actually, my whole trick is to find meaning in the words, and through the meaning you can kind of get a sense of rhythm and a sense of form that does coincide with modern English. It also helps with portrayal. When you're speaking the lines, you as the actor have a meaning behind them, so that it helps to give meaning to the audience when you're saying those lines.
Well said. Emily, any tricks to remembering this?
For me, it's always repetition, saying it repeatedly for any show, but especially for this. And to add to what Daelyn said about the rhythm, much of Shakespeare is written in iambic pentameter, so it has a natural rhythm that sort of just flows if we memorize it correctly and already has a rhythm. It's like a da-da-da-da-da-da, so it's easier to... He's really made it quite simple, actually. Just repeating it over and over really helps.
Now, this was written approximately in 1600, making it 421 years old. What do you guys think about Hamlet? Why is it still good theater all these hundreds of years later?
Probably it translates through time. It's just a story of family and betrayal, and I think that's something that's seen in everyday life. And because there's a lot of media that follows it and is influenced by it, the biggest well-known probably being The Lion King, that when you have these works that are influenced by it, people are then interested in the original work, and they check out Hamlet and they check out other Shakespeare shows, and so that's why it's able to just keep going. And since the language is written stylistically different, it's still the same way that we speak today. It's a little bit different, but you're able to understand if you read it and pay attention to it. So I think that's why the audiences can look at it and see the shows and connect to it.
It sounds fancy. That's what it is. All right, let's go over for the people who don't know Hamlet that well. Let's go over the basic plot. I'm going to start with Colin because he is the title character, Hamlet. So why don't you start off the plot, and then everybody please jump in where it's appropriate for your character.
Well, so the show starts off, Hamlet has lost his father, and his mother, the queen, has married his father's brother, his uncle, and so there's that element, and then he is then visited by his father's ghost, who tells him that his uncle has actually killed him, and so then Hamlet is set on a course of revenge. So that's how it starts.
So playing the brother who kills his brother, to really convoluted family relationship here. The motivating power of that is he wants to take control. He wants control of the kingdom. So to do that, he has to get rid of Hamlet's father and marry Hamlet's wife.
Got it.
The older Hamlet's wife. So,
Daelyn?
Ophelia's a bit of the love interest. And in order to figure out sort of what's going on with Hamlet, she is asked by her father and by the new king to break up with him, and that in turn causes her sort of downward spiral, which is a bit of a subplot to Hamlet's main plot.
Okay, we'll say downward spiral. We won't spoil anything to the audience. Miss Emily playing the queen.
So similarly, the queen undergoes some inner turmoil, just like Hamlet does. So as all of these things are kind of being revealed throughout the play, each character has their own struggle. So it's a lot of what's going on internally. How do you want to address that? Do you want to seek revenge? How do you seek revenge? Do you believe what's being said by this ghost figure? What's actually going on? So there's a lot of inner conflict that can be explored through the acting.
Got it. I do want to mention now Colin's character, and this is very, very impressive. In all of Shakespeare's plays, Hamlet has more lines than any other character. When I saw how many lines it was, fell off the chair. 1,500 lines.
Well, luckily for this show, it's not that many because we trimmed down the show, and Jenny Meisinger wrote a terrific adaptation. She does all the adaptations for the Shakespeare shows here, and it's a lot shorter. So the show is about 2 hours and 20 minutes now instead of a full 5-act length play. And
okay.
Luckily, I don't have that many lines, but it's still a very large load of lines. But it actually hasn't been too difficult working with them all. So
Big shout out for Jenny Meisinger for taking on a project like that. I know she's done it before, and she's done a great job. Now, this is rated PG. And it's rated PG-13 because of violence, murder, and suicide. So for some people, these are very sensitive topics. I wanted you to be aware of the fact that these, thematic elements are in there. Now, the rest of the cast, is it a large cast?
it's fairly large. It's a good sized cast.
Okay. I mean, it's less people than the normal Shakespeare production, or more? I remember last year, you and Julius Caesar, it seemed like there was a million togas walking around.
Maybe not that many, but it's a good sized amount of people. Enough variation on stage for sure.
In Julius Caesar, a bunch of people played 2 parts as well, so the cast wasn't as big as it seemed.
That's true. Yeah, okay,
Here,
that's true.
talking about a court setting, a castle setting, so there's a lot of little minor nieces, attendants, that kind of thing.
That's why I wore a tie. I'll just try to blend it in. No, I'm kidding. What were auditions like? Did you all read for the roles that you actually got, or were you assigned a role that you weren't expecting?
We were told to prepare and bring a comedic monologue, and then on top of that perform one of Hamlet's monologues from the show. So we all did a Hamlet monologue, and we all did another comedic of our choice.
Yeah, very cool. Is there live music?
There is a bit. There's a small scene in our graveyard. Little irreverent, but it's nice. It's fun.
So also bear in mind that there are some irreverency. Okay. We'll just, every time we come up with something that people should know about, we'll let them know. Set design. I haven't seen the set yet. It's always very cool for an outdoor set. Who's responsible for designing and building the set?
So Jeff Mahr and Brandon Mahr were the set designers for this show. So Jeff Mahr is also playing Polonius in the show, but the two of them were the ones who designed the set and helped pretty much make it look what the envision of the whole show was and what Randy envisioned. And so having that design, being able to build it, and everybody worked on building the set and putting the set together, but the two of them were the ones who were the designers.
And their last names are suspiciously a lot like yours, the famous Mahr team. Costumes. Who did costumes?
Janet, I don't know her last name.
I think it's Cooper, Janet Cooper.
Janet Cooper. There we
She
go.
did a fantastic job pulling everything together for everybody, and making the color scheme work, because it's kind of sort of a black, white, and gray color scheme, because the theme of the play is so dark. With some color strategically sprinkled in, so she did a really great job pulling that together.
Cool. Emily, while we're on you, do you have any shout-outs, anything you want to say to friends, family, loved ones, enemies?
As always, I will give a big smile and hug to my 3-year-old son, Frankie.
Hi, Frankie.
It has been a blessing to be able to do that while having him go to bed early at night.
Gotcha. Daelyn.
As always, my girlfriend Katie O'Shields, who is also in the show, keeps me from melting down.
Gotcha. Everybody needs somebody like that. I have Heather for that. Colin?
I don't have anybody specific I want to shout out, I guess, but I guess just all my family and friends and everybody around who has supported the theater and who is going to support the return of live theater to Southern Maryland.
Yeah.
So
Very
all those
exciting that it's back. It's back. And a great way. Beautiful weather, beautiful scenery. This is a great way to kick off the new season. Jonathan, anything for the folks
Similar
out home?
to my fellow castmates here, our friends and family, we devote so much time out of this, and they bear with us. They miss us during the summer just so much. I'd like to thank my rather new wife, Jenny Berry. She's been very supportive.
Yes, we all send congratulations. That's a recent marriage. Very exciting. Now, the show runs from August 12th to the 21st. The show starts at 7:30. And the box office is in the shop at Farthing's Ordinary, which is that away, right? Oh, it's that away, okay. And the lawn, it sounds like a funny thing to say, but the lawn opens at 6:30, meaning bring your blankets, bring your chairs, bring your bug spray, and your no alcoholic beverages. Don't bring those. You can get them here. And the show starts at 7:30. Now, if, God forbid, it rains, we are sitting underneath the beautiful new St. Mary City Pavilion, which you can see is big enough. We could have a comic convention in here. We really could. And it's certainly big enough to keep everybody safe from the rain. Bring bug spray. Always a good thing. I don't know if they'll be selling any bug spray. They will be selling bug spray, but if you don't want to buy some, bring some, because, it's outside and there's skeeters and stuff. Food. There will be food from Enso Kitchen, is over there, same direction. Not a food truck, but it's actually in that building there. No outside alcohol, as I said, you get that from St. Mary City. Now, pricing. Okay, it's new pricing for 2021. Adults are $18. Special discount groups are $15. Children under 10 are $13. But again, we do want you to keep in mind that it is PG-13, so if you've got 5, 6, 7, don't bring them. You'll have way too much therapy bills to pay for in the years to come. If you're an NTP member or friends of Historic St. Mary City, don't forget to ask for your discount. Now, this show's a little different in the fact that these folks are going to perform in just, 2 hours or something. It's sponsors open, so we're going to let them get into costume and do what they do. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to answer these questions and let everybody see who you are. We'll be back soon with an all-new episode. I want to thank my producer, Heather Lepore, and my creative consultant, Reggie Rice. On behalf of What's the Buzz, have a great night.